he's a power back. I mean, and he's one of those guys, if you study his history, when I went to Auburn, I'll just give you history of running backs here. This is running backs 101. I went to Auburn. Herschel was at Georgia, and we had Bo, and he'd come in. Bo wasn't a running back in high school; he was a linebacker and a fullback. So I'm going to school a little bit on SEC football myself. First year I've been around that. So what I noticed about Herschel, the more he carried it, the better he got. If you took his yards per carry in the first quarter, the second quarter, the third quarter, the fourth quarter, it just escalated, just kept going up. And what I found out over time is great backs, the more they get the ball, the more effective they are. And I think I can see in I can see in Washawn's background that he's that kind of back. He'll wear you down and make you not want to tackle him. I mean, you can tell when but he's got the ability to make you miss. He's got the ability to accelerate down the field. He's not a top-end sprinter. Most great backs aren't. Herschel was. That's why he was Herschel, and Bo was. But what makes him fit us, me personally, is he's a guy that can get you to the fourth quarter, and in the fourth quarter separate you from everybody else. And fourth quarter is how you win. So I think he's exactly the kind of back we need right now. You know, we don't take every transfer that comes down the road. Actually, I've had 3 SEC calls in the last 4 days. Okay, nope, not interested. We try to bring a guy in here if he comes that's got some credentials and somebody we can put right in place. So it hadn't always been that way, but we've tried to make it that way. To be fair to the players we got here.
Coach, you've had some pretty big name road games. You go to Kentucky this year.
Right.
Talk about how big that is for your program and just that exposure.
Well, it helps you recruit, and going forward, by the way, we're going to be playing 2 of those a year. I'll let Moose talk about that when the time comes, but I think I think it helped us a lot going to Florida State a couple of years ago. It certainly helped us going to Ole Miss last year. We are not an SEC football program. We're definitely the underdog. On certain fields at a certain time, though, there's not much difference, and so it can be competitive. I hope that we can arrive in Lexington, Kentucky with a right frame of mind. I can tell you, and I'll give some credit here, I think until Ryan came here, I don't know that you could say that we really walked into those arenas believing we were going to win. And you can walk in there, and it could be close, but if it's not close in your mind, and we went down there and played Florida State, and Ryan, I mean, they knew it. I knew it. If he was going out there, we were supposed to win. Boy's special now. And I think, and we should have, to be honest with you. But I think we crossed over to a point where the mental part of it doesn't mess with us like it used to. Before that, it was like we were waiting to get beat, even though we were capable of playing at another level. But it's still, there's still difference in, the recruiting, the talent base anywhere in the SEC than in a OVC school, Jacksonville State. So hope we can go represent ourselves well. I got one requirement when we go play one of those games. We want to be better after playing it than we were before playing it. That doesn't necessarily have to include the score. I mean, all I did at halftime at Ole Miss, we were down 21 points. I was telling them if we didn't get some blocking and tackling right, we were going to have to deal with it. So just go block and tackle. We'll see what happens. So we'll just try to block and tackle Kentucky. That's all we can promise.
Jack, when we talked about Washawn here, you mentioned the comparisons a little bit with Ryan, that kind of player. Isn't it true that there's probably a little less uncertainty with Ely coming in here than there was when Ryan was here, whether it's the periphery stuff or the playing stuff?
Yeah, when Ryan came in, he had spurts of greatness, but there wasn't a real career that went along. I mean, he was SEC player of the game, the SEC championship game. The highs were obvious, but what you've got with Washawn is, I mean, he's been their leading rusher for 2 years. he's shown a consistency of when he got the ball. His yards per carry average is 6.2. He's carried the ball a bunch now. 6.2 in the SEC. I dare say I don't know that Bose was a lot better than that. Some of the great backs I've got, that's pretty good now. That's consistency. Not like he wasn't playing. These are like when I talked to Bobo about this first time. I said, "Tell me about him." He said, "Do I have to tell you anything more than is our starting running back?" I said, "Okay, Mike." I qualified it right there. I think I made the boy mad. Actually said that to Ronnie, didn't he? Ronnie's back there. I think he said it to Ronnie. We had the phone between us.
Coach, speaking of transfers, what kind of culture have you guys tried to set here to have those guys want to come and play for you?
Yeah, well, number one, the equity principle. You know, if you're going to come in. If we don't bring you in here, you're going to come in here to play. And actually, you know, a lot of the transfers. This wouldn't be the case with Sean, but a lot of the transfers we got are people that we recruited, and then they went somewhere else. And sometimes we'll chase one we know we can't. I mean, maybe we can't get, but we're going to build that relationship really well, and so they trust us. That I'd have to say that. And then the part of the culture is that these other players have seen it work, and when they come on a visit, which most of them do, they're not treated like somebody's afraid they're going to get their job, or you got to prove to us, or I think there's an acceptance just because we've tried to only bring in people, and not that we always have, but here lately we've been pretty good at it. We're trying to only bring in people that really help our football team. If you need a nose man, bring in a nose man. If you need a running back, bring in a running back. Don't just throw guys in situations where some guy that's already here wakes up and says, "Whose job's he here to get?" We haven't put our team off balance, so I think there's a pretty good acceptance at the peer level that this guy's coming in, he's valued. So, I know Marquez recruited Washawn. I mean, that was. And Marquez Ivory has a name everybody knows about in that part of the world. So the acceptance, gave a lot of credibility. Marquez's credibility meant a lot. So we create a good peer environment for them. We don't make them feel different, or we try not to. Well, we brought guys in here. I go back to players, by the way, and I said, "What you think?" They said, "He's different. We're not interested." Y'all probably don't believe this now. If we bring in one, we tell 10 no. Because there's a lot of this going on right now. A whole lot of this going on. Kids looking to leave and go somewhere else. More than that, and I think it's getting crazy, to be honest with you.
Probably just, sorry, leave them.
No.
Okay, I was saying, it probably doesn't hurt that, when they are looking at schools to come here, they see a school like you guys that beats an SEC team. So
Yeah, it probably helped. I think we are credible as a football program. I think, and part of it is I'm old and I know some people, and the first thing I said to Les Miles was, "Okay, Les, you convinced me. Can you help me get him?" "Okay, Mark, I believe you. Can you help me get him?" And I don't know what they did, but when they tell me yes, I know that means something. Chiswick, Nick. Not many of these guys, there are not many SEC staffs I don't have relationships on. And so,
is it a good time to be a coach at a mid-major then for the Missouri region?
Well, let me tell you what now, there is a lot, kids, you've had recently just some high-profile guys that are committing to schools. What does that say to the 3-year-ago guy? I think the recruiting's got so high profile that when a guy comes, I think it's hard to keep all those people in line year after year after year. I think there are more kids looking to leave high profile programs now than I can ever remember. And I'm glad I'm not there trying to trying to manage that, to be honest with you. It's tough to manage.
But you enjoy reaping the benefits.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's like free agency in the NFL. I mean, if you've got something that you need. I mean, when Ryan Perilou came here, we did not have a quarterback on scholarship. We didn't replace somebody. He was a guy. And we got Calvin Middleton. Here's another thing. Calvin is as important a football player here as we've got. And the first thing that I had to make sure was Calvin realized that this guy coming in, there's no competition. Well, who his closest friend is right now through the course is Calvin, but we've also gone to an A back, B back kind of concept. Even though if we end up in the I, which I hope we do some, Calvin will be the fullback, but he's going to play some tailback too. DeMarcus James from Demopolis, it's the same kind of, these are 220-pound players that can, and Ronnie Brown and Cadillac Williams, sometimes you just put the best two backs, and we've got a pure fullback package, and we got some pure fullbacks to put in there. But when you got two guys in that backfield with a quarterback that makes some things happen now, then, and I'm more of a two-back coach too than I am a one-back coach. So we'll see how that goes. But
Jack, you mentioned that there have been previous times that been picked to win the OVC.
yeah.
Given current conversations about the future of the program, how big would it be to get another one of those rings at this time?
How'd you phrase that? How good would it be, or?
I said, given